Hey everyone, how's it going? Sean here. It's been a while since I've done a video of sorts. As I've been teaching of late, one thing that always comes up is technique and students wanting to learn how to get better with technique. So what I like to do is try to make some technique exercises that combine a few things, particularly rhythm. So if you think of the most basic technique exercise that I think everyone has done at some point. So that's just it's not a scale, it's just a finger pattern. It goes from the sixth string to the first string. You can do it in the fifth position, or you could do it down here. If you're doing it down here, the frets are a little bit wider, so you get a little bit more of a stretch. It's a little bit more, not as much of a stretch the higher you go. The neck gets wider, but the frets get closer together. So let's talk about rhythm. The obvious thing that you could do with that is play it faster, and that's cool. There's sometimes reasons why it's nice to sit down and have some objective, like you have a hard sort of metric. I can play these rhythmic groups at this tempo, and you can track that progress. Some things that people might not think about is just playing different rhythmic groupings at slower speeds. So if you think of all the note denominations, we have whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, sixteenths. And then there's triplets. Triplet half notes, you can do triplet quarters, triplet eighth notes, triplet sixteenths, and so forth. And then you can get into, if you really want to go nuts, you can do fives and sixes and sevens even. I'm not going to do all of them, but I just thought I would paint the picture. These are all of the things you can do. Okay, so here is this is just a very basic Brock drum beat at, well, let's go 85 beats per minute. Okay, so what can you do with that? Well, it's something really, really basic. Let's just play quarter notes. And you would be surprised how many guitar players I tell, if I ask them to play quarter notes, they're like, they don't really know what it is. Once I play it for them, they're like, oh, yeah, I know. Okay, that's fairly straightforward. But because a lot of guitar players don't read, so they never have any consciousness of actual rhythmic values. And that's something which I'm kind of aiming to put forward here. So straight quarter notes on the downbeat. I am alternate picking. So that's fairly straightforward, right? And I could do eighth notes. I could do, I'm going to skip, so I'm going to come back to triplets, but I'll do 16th notes. So that's 4 notes inside of one beat. Okay, so if I circle back now, if I start with triplets, now there's a lot of stuff we can do with triplets, but if I take the triplet eighth notes, that's 3 notes inside of one beat. Da-ba-da-da-ba-da-ba-da-da-ba. One triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Now that's a very interesting one, because what you can start to do with the 16ths or the 8th triplets is not play all of them, but play partials of them. For example, let's just say I played the first 2 triplets, but not the second one. So it's going to be a little bit uneven. Okay, if I played the last 2 triplets, and I could play the first and the last. Now this is where we get to swing. let's talk about swing, because it's a huge thing, which every guitar player, whether you play jazz or rock, it would behoove you to think about this, because a lot of rock players, in my experience, can't really swing. I could not swing very, very well either. It's when I started to play more jazz music, I guess I'm better at it. I don't claim to be like the most swinging person in the world, but I've worked on it, and it really helps to be adaptable in a variety of different styles. If you think of like the early Van Halen record, for example, one of the things that I think is not said enough about that band is how kick-ass the rhythm section was. If you take a song like I'm the One, like that just swings so hard. And people talk about, I mean, everyone in that band was great when they first started and had a number of just killing albums, especially Alex Van Halen. I don't think he gets enough credit for just laying down what he did for that, because him and Eddie were just the nucleus of that band. And of course, Mike Anthony did a great job too, holding down the fort and not getting too much in the way. But back to the swing, from what I do know, when those two brothers were growing up, their father was a jazz musician. So it would have had to have been in the house. They would have had to have heard that kind of music. They even did a track, Big Bad Bill is Sweet William Now, with their dad. And that was, I think that was on Diver Down. It's what I really like that track. Anyway, the point being, what exactly is swing? Swing is not even eighth notes, but uneven eighth notes. Like in a nutshell, the first one's long, the second one's short. Exactly how long and how short? Well, that is really where we get to triplets. When you see swing written down or a shuffle, what they're talking about is the first eighth notes, quarter note triplet, and the second one's an eighth note triplet. So if you think back to my drums, the triplet feels. So if we take out the second triplet and we hold the first triplet for the length of the first and the second, so it has kind of this loping or galloping kind of feel. Okay, now I'm playing that with a straight drum beat. So the drummer here, the eighth notes, especially with the hi-hat, those are straight, very even eighth notes, and I'm putting swung eighth notes against them. So switching back and forth between swung and straight is really cool. So if I do like every string, one straight, one is swung, it'd be like, sorry. So being able to go back and forth is a good thing. Now I could also, so we've talked about quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, and sixteenths. Now here's something also you could think about is you play quarter notes, but nobody said anything about where you had to play the quarter notes. So we could displace quarter notes by a sixteenth or a triplet or an eighth note. So the most basic of that would be just play quarter notes. In other words, play an eighth note, like play on the ands of the beats, but hold it for the duration of one quarter note. So it would be like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Okay, now I could do triplets. I could play on, let's say, the second triplet of each beat. So kind of gives this lazy kind of feel. And almost what also is unsaid is playing, like there's just so many things I could think about this when you really drill down to it. You can play on the beat, ahead of the beat, or behind the beat. So even just what I just did kind of gives the illusion that I'm playing super sloppy and ahead, like late, purposely late. Now I could also change the displacement. I could do the last triplet of each beat. So that gives the illusion that I'm kind of playing ahead of the beat. And you can switch back and forth with that too. 16th displacement. Now, we're really starting to split hairs. The difference between, say, playing the second eighth note triplet and the second 16th is very small, but hopefully noticeable. So if you think of 16ths, so if I played, let's say, the first two 16ths of each beat. Now if I played the second and the third 16ths. Okay, if I played the last two 16ths, so the and ah. Okay, now what other things could I do? Well, I could start to think about, I could change the style and I could change the tempo. I could also swing the 16ths. So the 16th, swinging 16ths is very much the same as like swinging the quarter note. So 2 16ths now equal an eighth note triplet plus a 16th triplet, right? So like 2 16ths together make an eighth note. So it's weird, but an eighth note triplet and a 16th triplet. So you still got to get 4 inside of the beat. Now, I am playing that against a straight drum beat. Okay, now if I change the style, I'm going to go to same company, the Limbeat. I'm going to use their jazz one. So if I still go to like 85, swung eighths. And again, the way to get swung eighth notes, you really have to hear the triplet. If you can't hear it, play triplets. 2, Now, in the previous example, I did swung eighth notes against a straight drum beat. So I could do the opposite. I've got a swung drum beat. Now I'm going to play the eighth note straight. I really had to think about that. So now I could do sixteenths. Now, a lot of times when you hear a jazz player playing sixteenths against the beat, they're playing straight. They're not really swinging the sixteenths. There comes a point, even if you're playing eighth notes, when the tempo gets up around like 240, 250, where it's gonna get straighter and straighter as it goes. It's like impossible to make the eighth notes jagged. But that said, I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do dynamically, which kind of still help. But I'm gonna try to play straight sixteenths over this swung drum beat. 3, 4. Okay. So all of those things, the part of the reason why it's good to use these technique or these patterns, it's to control what your brain is thinking about. So there's sometimes where you just want to focus on one thing. So if it's a predictable pattern, it can just sort of be an application that runs way in the background of your brain and you're really just thinking rhythmically. And if you do improvise and, well, even just play for that matter, like you don't really want to be thinking about all the technical stuff. You want to be listening and just try to, especially if you're playing with a band. As a guitar player, you are very much a melodic drum. So some of the best guitar players have the best feel. Doesn't mean they're flashy, but they can play, they can groove. And this is one way to, let's put it this is just one way to at least get your mind conscious of the types of rhythm that you're playing. And when you listen to the drums, to like really focus on what you can do to help the song. Okay, now I guess I'll close with, I haven't changed the speed of the drums, okay? So I wasn't playing fast at all through this, but still fast enough where if you're doing a different displacement, you still have to think. Now, I could do quarter notes and still not really play much faster, but let's just say put this tempo. I'm going to put it up to 200. Okay, so this starts getting into the upper part of, 200 plus is starting to burn with jazz. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's kind of like what a walking bass player would be doing, like for the most part. Now, if I can do it, I will try. If I wanted to do displaced quarter notes, playing on the off beats. Sorry about the faces, man. I have to concentrate on that. So anyway, there's all kinds of things you can do. Change the tempo, change the feel. One of the other features about these apps, you can mute certain drums. You can play with the drum beat on, just have like a snare drum on beats 2 and 4. Maybe I'll do another video on that. But for today, that's all. So I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.